Know what setup.
Son of a...
What is... should read an instruction. What's happening, everyone? I think it's about time we get a bike unit video done. I've had enough questions about this to where I think the interest level is high enough, so we're gonna try that out. The only problem is I don't think we're gonna get much done on a bike in this getup. Let's take care of that real quick. All right, that's better.
Oh! Not get the ball back? That's ruthless.
So, bike units. They're quiet, they're versatile, and they're cost effective. Officers have the ability to get into places that patrol units or vehicles could not, so the awareness of their surroundings in those particular areas are quite good. Also, it allows us to engage with the community. We're not enclosed in a vehicle, so there's quite a bit more personal one-on-one interaction when you're out on a bike.
Hopscotch.
How do they make them?
All right.
And actually,
Oh! Not get the ball back? That's
In
ruthless.
mid-sized to larger agencies, bike units are used to penetrate crowds. The response time in heavy traffic is improved. And to be honest, you might have officers at police departments that prefer to be out on a bike because it's more enjoyable. So training, what do you have to do to get on that bike once you're at a police department? So a lot of police departments, and I'll generalize here, have certain standards to get into specialized units. Bike units are typically still part of the patrol division, so there's no specialty aspect to it, such as investigation or long-term investigation, things like that. There's not usually an advanced tactical side to it. However, it does require specialized training. So most departments don't necessarily have a large number of years that you have to be on to get onto the bike unit, but most departments do request that you go to training. I can't speak to all training. I know our department chooses IPMBA, which is the International Police Mountain Bike Association. That's where all our officers receive their training through IPMBA courses. Because yeah, we can all get on a bike and ride it, that's not a problem, but there's certain issues you run into, such as dismounting or bicycle vehicle safety interactions out on the road. You need to know how to defensively operate that bicycle. And then also there's some off-road things that you learn at IPMBA, at least for us, such as negotiating stairs, getting up and down rough terrain, and avoiding obstacles just in an urban environment. Oftentimes in this training, you'll receive a little bit of medically advanced training, tourniquet usage, first aid training. A lot of our bicycle units, the officers that go out on them will pack a med pack just because you could end up being that medical first responder. Now, I talked a little bit about being cost effective. I'll try to keep this short because it's kind of a big topic, but almost all police departments buy the same line of bikes. They are mountain bikes, some are hybrids. I would consider a couple of ours hybrids, but mostly what you're looking for are a little bit wider tire size because you're going to be going over different types of terrain. From what I've seen and in my experience, most of the police bikes have the shock absorbing forks. All in all, and I'll do a comparison between my personal bike and my police bike. They're not all that different. I would just say that most of them fall in that mountain bike category. Now, I will talk a little bit about two main types of police bikes. There's a hardtail, which is the front suspension that I just talked about. That's all the bike has. There are dual suspensions, but I've not seen a lot of that in police use. That suspension that you see isn't necessarily only to negotiate rough terrain. It takes a lot of the fatigue away from the officer who's going to be on that bike for an entire shift. Now, for accessories, no, you're not going to go out and pull anybody over. You're not going to use your lights and sirens on your bike to actually affect a vehicle stop. Could you do it? Has it been done before? Absolutely. And probably in huge major metro areas where traffic's just at a dead stop, you could effectively pull a car over. But most of the time you are responding to active calls, or you're searching for someone in a wooded area, a bike path, or maybe up and down alleys in an urban environment. So the lights and sirens aren't a huge deal. I'll tell you where they do come in handy, however, when you're responding, it just gives the motorist that extra level of caution. They might see you more if you have those on, but it's not necessarily for pulling vehicles over. Now, what do you put on a bike? Most officers, like I said, put in a med kit. You absolutely should have a emergency repair kit, because if you're stuck out there, yeah, you can call patrol and they'll come and pick you up, but it's awfully embarrassing. So a tube replacement kit simple basic things to repair basic problems with your bike, that's a must as well. Other than that, there's not a lot of special gear that you keep on a bike. I will show you here in a minute. You do wear different things than a typical patrol officer, but as far as what's on the bike, it's definitely stripped down from what's in a patrol vehicle, but you're not doing anything crazy or outlandish just because you're on a bike. So as you can see, I'm wearing a different uniform. This is more breathable. This is from BROLL. I think I'm gonna do a video on that as well, but this isn't your typical police uniform. I showed you guys in my last video for the Wilder Tactical, this is not your typical police belt. This is a combat belt or battle belt, whatever you wanna call it. They're just a little bit lighter, more molly on that, a little bit more comfortable on your hips. So you're wearing this instead of that leather duty belt. To give you guys a comparison, here's my leather duty belt. It's just a little bit more rigid. It's not as versatile. There's no molly on it. This would kind of suck to wear on a bike because that's going to be digging into your hips. Whereas this has cushioning on the inside, molly, you can get your accessories on there. You can find a way to displace that weight while you're on a bike and make yourself more comfortable. Shoes, these are my patrol boots. Not wearing that on a bike, that would be horrible. These are my bike shoes.
Officer, I got one question for you. What are those?
Now at our agency, we just require black shoes. So I had the choice, obviously being the nerd that I am, I went out and got Jordans, but you can get whatever you want as long as it's a black athletic shoe. It can't be gaudy, it can't have a lot of design on it. That's not really impractical, it's just that when you're in a uniform, you want to look as uniform as possible. So we require all black shoes. Okay, so that wraps up the shoe portion. I wanted to switch over to this jacket real quick just to show you we do have apparel as well that's kind of high vis that you can wear in inclement weather. But let's be honest, you guys did not come to watch this video to hear me talk at a desk, so let's head outside and I'll show you some of the stuff up close and personal. All right, here's our police bikes. These are up on racks. There's 3 or 4 on the other side of the garage, so this is our fleet. We have Fuji's and Treks, I believe. I just wanted to pull these out to give you guys an idea of the markings on police bikes. So let me swing over to my bike. So this is my bike, it's a Trek Verb 2. I won't get into the differences between Trek and Fuji. I believe they're both equally good bikes. But you can see not a whole lot of difference. Police bikes are inherently mountain bikes most of the time. Mine is more of a road or hybrid bike. But because police bikes have to be universal for different officers, mine kind of has a frame fit to me. And obviously it's not a hardtail. I don't have suspension on my bike. All right, let's head out to the trail. I'll show you more. All right, so have a lunch break. A little bit of background noise, no big deal. Hopefully you can still hear. I'm gonna get my helmet off and get set up and we'll go through the bike. It's hot out today. All right, I don't get it. Every time I start a video, there's a lawnmower or sirens or something. I mean, I get it, I'm a cop, but still. It's like Murphy's Law. So I'm gonna try to run through a bike really quick. There's not a whole lot different about a bike patrol unit than say a regular patrol unit. Obviously they're on a bicycle, slightly different uniform, but that's more for like breathability. This particular uniform is from BROLL. It's actually their line for bicycle patrol or bike safety. Obviously it's got the reflective material on it so you can be seen by other motorists, and kind of bright, vibrant colors so you are, again, visible for other people on the road. Now the first thing that you want to have when you're on a bike and you're on patrol are gloves. These things are super important. Your hands are gonna get calloused up and all beat up from going over different bike paths, ruts, potholes in the road, especially in our city, and just kind of going up and down different gradients and different levels. I just use regular old mechanics gloves, same thing as that I would use on patrol. You don't have to get fancy and get bike gloves, but a lot of people do that. Next up is a bike helmet. Just a bike helmet, guys. Probably all your kids, or if you are a kid, all of you should be wearing these anyway. Nothing special. It fits on your head. It has a MIP system in the back, which is just more of like a tension system. You kind of crank that and it tightens down. And then oh look, another car. And you fasten the buckle, bam. So obviously I'm still identified as police. I have my name here. There is police on the back. I'll try to get a shot of that. That'll also be in the BROLL video. But the bike, you guys are probably more concerned with the bike than anything else that's on me. They are not all that different. Just a regular gear shift system here. Braking system. We have disc brakes. I don't think this model is hydraulic disc, but I think our Treks are. So the light system we use is the Night Rider LED system. You can see you just touch on and that'll activate the front LED as well as a back safety LED red light. Everybody always asks, do you have lights and sirens? Some of our bikes actually have I call it a noisemaker, not really a siren. Never really ran into a situation where you need to have that. Like maybe cutting through traffic to get to a foot pursuit or a fight or something like that. It'd be a good idea to kind of do this red and blue deal. You just hold that in and it'll switch over to red and blue. That gives you maybe an extra level of visibility, but really you need to be defensive driving when you're on a bike anyway. I think more so at night when you are either parked on the side of the road or you're out with somebody on the street, that red and blue light would be more effective. That hooks up all the way through the battery pack to the tail light. If you want my opinion, it is a good idea to run lights during the day. It's just that extra added layer of visibility. And I prefer these type of straps where you can choose to have your foot in there or not. In our jurisdiction, we have a couple downtown districts that, you know, you're on a sidewalk going at slow speed and it's kind of a pain to be in a strap. So it's nice to flip that over and just use it as a regular pedal. Highly recommend, and I don't know if this will show. I don't want to get into company endorsement here, but I have one of these. I don't know if that'll show up. Maybe, maybe not. I have one of these mesh vests underneath my actual vest. And what that does, especially when you're doing bike stuff, is it will sit your vest away from your body and all that air gets in there and kind of breathes through underneath your vest. Keeps you a little bit cooler. So I don't know where this footage is in relation to others, but some things we do on the bike. This is just a small portion of our bike path. We'll patrol the bike path, but it's also, here, let me flip this around. It's also for use on, I don't know if that focus is working, who cares? It's also for use in just areas that you can't really get to in a cruiser that quickly. So, you know, like if you're at a problem area, problem house, and cruisers are kind of in the area just watching vehicles or watching people, these things are really quiet and you can get up and down alleys and in between places pretty easily with them. So you're more available and you can get places cruisers cannot, sometimes even more quickly. So I did my best to make bike units sound as interesting as possible for you guys. That wraps up the video. Got a few more planned going down the line. Until the next one, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments and the questions. Definitely try to answer as many of those as I can. You can check me out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. I post different kinds of content on all of those platforms. But until next time, see you guys later.